Højlund was the saviour for United last night after being brought on for Rashford in the 56th minute. Will Marcus start against City? Well, Tottenham drew in Glasgow and Chelsea went through in the Conference League. United win was their first away win in Europe for more than 18 months, and they'll have to hope that away form continues in the next two big games, City at the Etihad and Tottenham away in the League Cup, don't forget. The next home game is Bournemouth on the 22nd, but it's the theatre of dreams, really, that's intimidating. Is it that intimidating anymore? Are teams going to Old Trafford now thinking, no, come on, we'll win this? Ray's former teammate and a double winner with Arsenal, Manny Petit, doesn't think so.
It's not the theatre of dreams anymore, Manchester United. It's like you go over there and you have the feeling that even average team can beat them, at home. And it's a shame because back in days, it was so difficult, to go over there. And the mentality was always winning every single game. It was very hard, to beat them. And I don't feel that since ages now.
Manny's got a point, hasn't he?
Yeah,
you would
definitely.
go there, Ray. You knew you were in a battle.
Absolutely. That was one of the toughest places to play. As I said before, when the fixture list come out in June, you always looked at when you're playing Man United home and away, and when especially the latter game, it could be about March time. If you can get a result then, you've got a chance maybe to win that title. So that was always a real fortress, Old Trafford. And I do agree with Manu there. I mean, it's a little bit easier now to go there as a team and get 3 points.
Yeah. Okay, let's get the thoughts of Manchester United content creator. A very good morning to Flex. Flex, morning.
Morning, Flex.
Morning, fellas.
Flex, how are you feeling at the moment then? Do you see a change or is it going to take longer?
Oh, it's going to take a long time. I think Ruben Amorim, he's been saying how long it's going to take, how the storm will be coming, how Manchester United will be found out, how we have to suffer. He knows he's a clever guy, and he's assessed the situation early doors, and he's found out just what a difficult task he has. The squad that we have basically doesn't suit his style, bar a couple of players. The squad isn't good enough after being heavily spent on. And it's gonna take a long time. I don't think any Man United fan really expected, and they shouldn't have if they did, be very naive, expect Ruben Amorim to just come in with a wand.
Flex, what about the weekend coming up now? Is this a good time to go to City? And could it really kickstart United's season? Or is Pep saying to his players, come on, we'll put them to the sword and we get our season going right now? It's an interesting game.
It is, Al. It is. It's definitely a good time to play City. With the form that they're in and how they're leaking goals, and you look at their defence and you just think, oh my goodness, if we can't get at these on the counter attack, something's really wrong. But you have to rely on the individuals to do that, Al. You have to rely on players who are going to put it in. You've got to rely on players who are going to exploit those weaknesses, who are going to be asked to run, who are going to be asked to put in that effort, and of course have that quality. And this Man United is like the Forrest Gump box of chocolates kind of vibe. You literally don't know what you're going to get game by game, but you're going to have real moments in there that are really tough and really difficult to watch.
Now, can Amorim get the best out of Marcus Rashford?
I don't think he can, mate. And as Amorim said in the presser one before last, it has to come from Rashford. It's all about unlocking Rashford. It's all about the coach has got to do this, or the club's got to provide this environment, or this, that, and the other. It's about Marcus himself, and I watch him every single game, up close, personal, 90 minutes. Well, he doesn't complete 90 minutes these days, but and he just looks like a lost soul, mate. He just looks like a lost soul, wandering about the park, and it almost looks like he's, with a lot of the rumours recently about him being up for sale or them looking at how they can move him on. It almost looked like he'd been told that or seen that, and he's just thrown a towel in. And it hurts as a United fan because you're looking at him, you want him to do well. You want this Marcus Rashford who's come through the academy, he's been at the club since he was, 6 or 7, walking to training, taking a couple of buses across Manchester. You want that kid to shine through and be an integral part of Man United's improvement, but you just don't see it. And I can't see any other option than for both parties to go their separate ways, to be honest.
Flex, we'll see. It's a big game for both, isn't it? On Sunday, it's a cracker. Will Højlund start? Will Marcus start? Will Pep get the best out of City? It's going to be great. Enjoy, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, Flex.
Right,
Nice one, guys.
thank you. Moving on to Spurs. Angry Matt gave the numpty bar a call and had it out with Jason Cundy.
You lot are part.
Don't even go there.
No, you are. You're part of the problem.
Cundy,
No, you are.
don't wind me up.
No, you are. No,
You're the problem.
no, I tell you why. Because you put up with it. You give it all the big one where you win a couple of games. You think you're going to go and win the Champions League. You think you're going to win the FA Cup. You think you
Jamie,
No, you do,
Jamie,
Matt.
talking-
No, you're part of the problem, Matt.
Do you know who you're talking to, fella?
No, you're part of the problem, Matt.
When have you heard me brag about winning with the pony
No, I'm
players?
saying you fans. I said, not you. I said you fans. You're part of them. You're part of the problem.
Don't put me in that. Don't put me in that. I told you from way back when that the problem at my football club are the fans, because those fans should be getting the owner out of our football club, because every single week they come down and then what do? Oh, Ange ain't got a clue. Oh, Ange ain't got a plan B. Mate, when you've got players of that level, what do you expect?
Do you know, someone said to me yesterday, the big owner, Joe Lewis, with the amount of money he's got, you think, he's getting on a bit now, Joe, and he's thinking, come on, spend a bit now, go big. But, I don't know. Daniel's very, very clever with his money, Daniel Levy, isn't he?
Absolutely,
Or with Joe's money.
I mean, recruitment is so important in football, though. You don't have to go out and spend massive money on certain players sometimes and get a result.
Well, look at
to
Brighton.
get a result, but you just got to be knowing if a player can improve and take a gamble on certain players that can improve. Brighton, as you mentioned there, they've lost all their players over the years.
Amazing.
And they seem to somehow replace them.
Well, Matt was very angry there. Let's get a view of broadcast and a big Tottenham fan, Ricky Sachs. Ricky, morning.
Morning, Ricky.
Good morning, chaps. How are we?
Good, Ricky. You must have been disappointed last night. Ibrox, Ange, clearly frustration now coming out on the big Aussie.
Yeah, I mean, look, as you guys are well aware, it's not been great for several weeks, several months. Just can't find that consistency really overall. And I struggle to think if he will find it the way we're playing. Look, I acknowledge that we've got a huge amount of injuries. I appreciate that. It's hard to find that fluidity when you have got the number of injuries we've got. But just the overall performance, guys, I've got to be honest with you, last night, for a good 60, 70 minutes for me, just the lack of desire, commitment, determination from the application of the players are deeply, deeply concerning me at the moment. I just don't see enough there at the moment to show me that everybody's pulling in the same direction. Ali, you'll know from obviously Ibrox, it's not an easy place to go. Yes, they've come away with a draw, but with all due respect, it was such a poor performance, and not for the first time this season with Tottenham. There's just more questions than there is answers at the moment.
And do you know what, Ricky? I have to say, I know the result was wrong against Chelsea, but what a game that was. Talk about the pace of the match, and that was some game, but again, Tottenham's frailties at the back were there to be seen.
The problem is, Al, though, with these games, we know, with all due respect, look, they were 2-up against Chelsea, but I'm the only Tottenham fan that I know that ever felt in control or ever felt like the game was in our grasp. With all due respect, you just felt with Tottenham that the way in which we're playing is quite simply unsustainable in terms of not being able to control a game, not being able to calm a game down. I just look at the way Spurs want to play under Ange, and for me, the only way you can play that way is if you've got players that are able to run for well over 90 to 100 minutes, 120 minutes, and you've got players that have the ability to be able to rotate and change and bring them in. And I look at Tottenham at the moment, for me, we don't have the squad that can play the way Ange Postecoglou wants us to play. And I have got deep, deep reservations right now if this is going to work long term. And I just feel really, really unsure as to where this project is going. I'm sure you guys are well aware that Spurs fans in general feel now there's a real lack of direction amongst the football club. There's a lot of frustration towards Daniel Levy and the ownership. And look, I have to say, it's not been all Ange Postecoglou's fault. It hasn't been all Ange's fault. It's a combination of a number of things that are leading us to where we are right now, where again, it's coming to that time where there's a huge amount of pressure on the manager. And it just feels like here we are again so quickly. Yeah. And I'm just not sure quite under Ange Postecoglou where we're going at this present moment in time.
Ricky, do you see a little bit? Do you see a little bit of movement in the January window? You just said there the squad is not big enough and good enough. Do you think they will go into the market? Will they trust Ange to say, look, we need a few more players and help him out a little bit more?
The problem is, Ray, all due respect to the January transfer window, we all know what January's like. You know, you're not going to get the best players available in that market. They're all inflated. They are overpriced. And with all due respect, I know there's probably a lot of Spurs fans thinking, can we really trust Ange Postecoglou to give them even more players with the nature of the way the results are going and the way we're performing right now? Yes, Tottenham do need, additional players brought in. Yes, they do need more quality. But if you look at what Spurs have signed, with all due respect, over the course of the last couple of windows, Dominic Solanke has been one of the very few higher established name players. They've gone for the likes of Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall. Look, they were two of the really good youngsters for Tottenham against Rangers. I thought they played really, really well during that game against them at Ibrox. But for me, this Tottenham team needs so much more experience now. They need so much more leadership in that group right now to give, a feeling that we're going in the right direction. And quite simply, I look at Andrew on the touchline as well. I'm not sure whether he as invested as what he looked like at the start. He just looks so drained. And it was like that typical Tottenham manager that gets that point after 17, 18 months. You boys will remember the look at Conte, the look at Mourinho, and Ange looks like the same at the moment. He just looks so drained from it.
Yeah.
So really hard to know, boys, the direction of where we're going at present.
Ricky, thank you.
Thanks,
Ricky Sachs, Spurs content
pleasure,
creator
boys.
there. Look, we'll take some calls on that. 03717 22 3344. Is the pressure now getting to Ange? Is he ready to crack 720?
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.